getting punked from the beginning, hiding words that help and using legalese to kill. There's a big fuck you coming for each of us, so strap in. Undoubtedly, to my personal detriment, I warn the few who bother to read these things. We've all played a role, however tertiary, and earned our allotment of crap. We'll each, one way or another, find ourselves in the midst of turmoil, the likes of which have yet to be known, throughout our collective history, at least the bits we've bothered to protect. I still do believe our dreams still need us, but we need one another more. Giving of oneself is as dangerous as it is complicated, and when you're incapable, unable, or unwilling to look out for yourself, it's impossible to help anyone else. The good choices slipped slowly from our capability to decipher between a choice we made or the one made for us. I could give two shits for Roe v. Wade and have changed to spare. Millennium have gone by without plants or people's bodies being the concern of the masses. You need no one's permission for anything. You take care of yourself and hurt as few people as possible. What you do with your body is your business, not the government's. If we turn the argument and in place of women, or girls, we make it the men and the boys, you see the stupidity. Example, age 13 men must have a vasectomy, and may not be reversed until financial and mental stability can be established, or the age of 25. Seems stupid, right? We are literally stupid animals, who miraculously decided to get cute. This god thing seemed a bit astonished too, but we'll get to that. Where one goes, we all go. We were always getting here, by which I mean the 2020s, staring down the barrel of a damn good run for the humans on the planet Earth. The shouting at stable educated leaders once well grounded in the factual uncertainty of life, a requiem for none other than themselves. This is mass psychosis. It's happened repeatedly. We put all of ourselves into building the dream. We never asked ourselves what we wanted as recompense. When a decision should be made, you make it, otherwise one is made for you. For my part, I was attempting to be respectful, trusting not only in the goodness of us all, but in our greatness as well. We each are a multitude of universes contained in a squishy sack of mostly water. Without one another we become errant, rogue, untethered, adrift. We compete, exclude and carry on cranky, with the very thing we need to save ourselves, that's one another. We are fragile and mighty. The other mistake I made, is the assumption we as the all, not only knew of our duality and need, but understood the concept. Like all self-evident truth, truth doesn't mind questioning, liberty isn't afraid of idea, justice is sought not given. I wanted to learn and am grateful for every thought I was lucky enough to absorb. Seeing things from this angle, it was naive to think everyone felt the same. I'm not sure where the want came from, but I wanted to learn. At the age of what we can generously say was 3, I took up the responsibility and relentless pursuit to have the secret. Those unnatural scribble patterns were sharing. People seemed unable to understand things we'd both done before, often to the inability to speak without looking to them. The magic of written words wasn't magic. This was in their similarity, the same things everyone had and could use, even share, silently laying there, to be seen or not, to be read or not, to be agreed upon, liked, cared for, hated, loved, or used as kindling for dinner. The written word is probably the only awesome thing we've done, ever. We try so very hard to feel we're worthy, and being stupid animals, and rarely see, the attempt to achieve this idea, pushes us further from the ability to actually feel worthy, of anything at all. Collectively then, we lash out, permitting ourselves to inhabit the same space and time, as the willful attempt to destroy the only thing we've managed to achieve. Stupid animals. Don't worry though, not a single one of us is exempt from this. It's our nature. Nature isn't willful, it's the reason we are able to survive and the only reason we do. It must have been for survival. I have no other idea what possessed me, but no joke, surprised all around, the weird kid that couldn't use a crayon. I didn't understand how to color inside of the lines, until I was almost 2 years older. I wanted to do a difficult thing, pretended I was able to and poked at the wall playing at doing so, and found the task had already been achieved. I wouldn't figure out until near 30 years later, that idea came from the Gospel of Thomas. The tyranny called ideas, is what I'm seeing as the base of the issue, upon the issues, upon bad to worse, of a type we only ever were told would be the end times. The few passages that get called the Gospel of Thomas or the Book of Sayings are all anyone should have ever looked at, and even in them it says don't take up interpreting the dead. I'm not saying that time was wasted, but a lot of people called a whole block of our history, the Dark Ages, and not for lack of light. We've checked, and just in case we're getting fake news we check again and again. The sun's been here longer than we have. We mustn't forget, for all we know, we could be in the lower intestine of a larger creature and still not find out for another 10,000 years of the scientific method. We are of course stupid, so deeply stupid, stupid animals. We actively work against our own self-interest for what we perceive as our own self-interest. My life, From the day I was born, in Austin, Texas, I've been in the center of an overtly religious people. Christianity was and is the headliner here, by far not the only type of deeply spiritually accounting people. There's something about this place that's special, we don't know why, and the environment wants to murder us. Not a one of us would trade it for another. Recently, self-preservation would dictate, something must change. Welcome to step 1, at about 3 years old, pestering anyone who was dumb enough to let my words in their ears to hear, largely my sister. Sister is 2 years older, which got her in the door of the school sooner. They gave her papers to take home, papers that were just doing their paper thing, laying there, that's it, being paper, with lined patterns. It was so cool, and she figured out the only way to make it stop, it being little dumb sister me, was to pass along that paper squiggle action. The tyranny we keep inflicting isn't against knowledge overtly, but it's the only thing we have with which to harm others. Harm in a way, just enough so they aren't all too dead to eventually keep us from going crazy, usually because we hate ourselves, never accepted or revered the idea that attempting to understanding this aspect of our nature could hold a key to ending the arduous cycle. Of course, this is our Abrahamic time frame. The ancient folks had some understanding to understand going on. We're nowhere close to that again. In this fun blood-soaked fiasco, we've collectively been shamed into not talking about the shit we feel for ourselves, that we burn other people's squiggle line papers to hide ourselves from ourselves, not once, but over and over. This has been a humanity rinse and repeat cycle, to nowhere. I keep promising I'll get off if things really turns out we all have a super high, ever-increasing concept of too much. In Texas, we love the squiggly line papers, deriving from a dude we killed before he quit fully forming. We started over the count of time, made everyone just agree and shut up about it. This dude, we call Jesus, was and is a fucking rock star. Time count started over, we get to do it right this time, we're all so excited. 1982 plus 3 years and everyone's like, what's that fat kid doing? We were all so excited. I still didn't understand why, but I do love me a party. Thinking of it now, we could have tried a little more, not to be excited that we had covered, but to care more for us as a whole without our usual squiggle line paper tyranny. The thing is, without the tyranny we can't agree on the correct way to do the best thing for ourselves. Exit self-interested enlightenment, enter self-interested entitlement. We have a plan, we're Texans after all. We still have the squiggle line paper, and if you stack a lot of them together and bind into a book, let's go with bibliography, you not only get fashionable water resistance, but heft and durability with which to beat the only people we need to get off the merry-go-round. Replacing the oh shit bars with over-the-head books super keeps with our trend. We're a consistent, reliable bunch of crooks. That's true too. Texas history, from the beginning, literally. So, fat kid, like squiggle line paper, and melting things. 32 years of looking to absorb one more drop of a considered thought, and not even one of the multitudes of my fellow Texans ever even mentions it. It's not the will, desire, or intention of anyone to withhold the information. They didn't know either. I hope not. You see, the gospel, while obviously authentic, was not decided to be part of the canon of writings agreed upon for inclusion in what would become a blunt force instrument for an insert need here ideology. We get mixed results from this. The subtleties of idea and ideology have only ever been in depth explained, in what very few other than the squiggle line paper fan would wade through, but we're still also fucking excited. Plus, we don't know what we don't know. We love and trust one another, why wouldn't we? It's most likely, the chosen and discarded books were merely the attempt to not confuse and overly burden the then illiterate masses. It's also equally as likely that the obvious contradiction the Book of Sayings would bring into the larger story they wanted to create would be problematic. Jesus wasn't teaching us like we teach others to get from place to place. The mission was showing us how easily and naturally we were able to think. Fucking rock star. He did warn us, repeatedly, that we probably weren't going to be as excited once we finally understood his messaging. Another reason the book was only discovered after years of theoretical science and religious text, in search mode by that time. Through actual words, I miss the squiggly line paper, and the excitement, even the doubt. I'm not even sure I should put this out there. I'm being the opposite of everything I always thought I was. If I just slip off, with my loved ones, or build a boat, and fuck you fuckers, I've said it many times, I think someone may have listened. It doesn't matter so much, we'll all get there in the end. No joke. Thinking and understanding have never been trusted to the everyday person, not until our recent history. In the end, we do find ourselves right back at the place we began, continually, apparently, eventually. There isn't a beginning and an end. We're warned about this many times as well. The multitude of trouble we could have saved ourselves, if just one of those religious scholars had enough balls to put the unpopular, uber light, complete, all factually accurate, word for word, that literally left his mouth, spoken by our superhero, while he walked in this murderous planet around its murderous people, until we naturally murdered him. Wait, I'm sorry, the Book of Sayings has been known, illuminated, and unchanged, since it fucking happened, literally, not figuratively, metaphorically or in a sense. I know some peeps will have an issue with this, it's a conundrum, and it's also true. Trust me, it's okay, it's always been okay, and always will be. Think of it all, as we were learning to understand our feelings of the matter, using intuition and problem-solving skills, we were told to trust the path, then we'd know what the message was. Never mind the path purposefully avoided the truthful parts of JC's message. We had little choice either way, so crooked lies and dark paths were the only way we could get there. Maybe that's why it wasn't widely circulated, and frankly quite openly shunned, the times it did surface, just not by a bird with a computer account. Twitter, tweet. I'm fairly certain it was President Jefferson that re-illuminated and translated the Gospel of Thomas, but I do not joke here. To be clear, he wasn't the first or the last. The information keeps getting taken away, but then enters technology. I find out all this time, there's been squiggle line paper thieves, still wanting to keep the whatever X here tyranny on ideas away from mass consumption. Before I get off this disco of insanity ride, we've all been so excited, and thoroughly warned about. I'm going to put this out there, frankly, because it literally could have saved me a dickload of time, money, recourses, hurt feeling, fear, anxiety, confusion, sadness. I can go on, but seriously, everyone, words on paper. Why did no one in all these people living and dying for centuries never just make more copies? Call it fake news, discredit it, burn me at the stake. There's not much that you assholes can do at this point that's going to shut my mind or stop my thoughts. I had to work like hell for these. This little thing, that's so big, call it miraculous if you'd like, it was deemed we couldn't handle it, shouldn't or mustn't know. Those that did know, knew all along, and no one said a word. Silence, everywhere, no record in any meaningful way, for a curious mind to find. The thing is, if you would like to know what Jesus of Nazareth wanted, by making such a splash down here, it has literally always been there, you just must super be looking for it, or belong to a shadowy club of squiggle line ninjas. No one's going to read this, no one's going to care, but then again maybe that what they thought, and magically erased very simple words on paper, just doing their thing, laying there, like words do. You'll glance at this and say, fat, squiggles, sweets, good one, kinda long, though frankly my fingers hurt, but you'd expect nothing less. The enormous book, circle talk and contradictory riddles, crusades, murders, burnings of books and people, all are near impossible to decipher with any coherency, else you start making shit up, literally on purpose. Rinse and repeat. Fuckers, read it. I'm including in below. Seems kind of like we were the super surprise. Imagine my surprise when I found out everyone knew about this but said nothing to me. It isn't bad, the Bible. It's badass. It's got everything you could want in a story, and Yahweh's story from the beginning to the end is fucking amazing. The purposeful removing of the important and educational parts of the Gospels, even though we had no doubt on authenticity of, super shady, right? From this point of view, it's like, thanks rich white straight men, thanks for your belief in me personally, that you knew I'd be just as fine without knowing what all this fucking fuss has been for. Had I not demanded to know the mystery of the squiggle line, I clearly would have lived, died, and never known a thing so simple ever existed, at least, not for certain. Tyranny against ideas, invoked en masse, the conscious subversion of things straight up. No doubt the superstar said, hidden far too well, you had to be in a club to even know it was there. Guessing that people keep people together, assuming everyone would know this list actually existed, I definitely don't think they cared. Belief is not a question or requirement that has ever been relevant in any archaeological, historical, religious, spiritual idea or ideology, not ever. We made that part up. Study is gathering and sorting information. Long ago, some pretty useful information was studied right out to my needing to know it existed. Play your squiggle line paper games, grip them tight, think we won't all see and we can't all feel your shame. So there you are, words I can't know without trying to make sense of what is in itself purposefully difficult and near impossible to just read and move on from. Also, I would like to remind those that like the real thick, fashionable, where the resistance stacks, the ones with good margins, lots of notes, and lovingly placed messages. If you could just try and imagine for one moment, maybe something as old and calculatable as Where the Stars Are isn't hocus pocus fiction. Just try, then show up to my stake burning. I'll ask my friends to bringing marshmallows. The people you meet who ask what your sign is ain't all wrong. Most, and there's a whole lot in the most category of this, are just misinformed. Knowing an idea won't hurt you. The barometric pressure that makes you sleepy when it rains, doesn't make you violent, ugly, or dictate who you love. the gravity of which you, at the moment of your birth, became a part of, like an independent, one-of-a-kind autonomous celestial body, literally and figuratively. This is real, folks, not new age or holistic. It's math and tidal forces, and one of the very first things we got the calculations automated to sort out when we got those room-sized computers. Guess why? It's not algebra, it's super hard fucking math and thousands of years of empirical observation and diligence. It's always astonished me that the Tata has been so easy to slap alongside it, because the only option left by the tyrannical idea deniers and the squiggle line paper stupid animals leave is it's fake and stupid, or all-encompassing without choice. To all the folks on both sides of that argument, just know I'm literally telling you to come to the fire they light under me when they tie me to a stake to murder me, because my friends will bring marshmallows. I am not lying. You still won't believe me. I also know nothing. None of us do. We are stupid animals, with the most contradictory mannerisms. How could I and why would I make this shit up? The decision to listen was mine. It never occurred to me that they would eventually try persuading my listening, and the idea that an idea could harm me was about as foreign to my perspective as your cell phone obsession is to a flounder. I've let ideas of all the peoples who've written about ideas kick it in my head, from the very first moment I possibly could have ever done so of my own accord. So far, no spontaneous combustion or giant pit has opened up to swallow me, not to say it won't. If it did, maybe I'm the angel at the bottom. Most likely, I'm just some stupid animal. I'd wish I saw some luck, but it doesn't really matter. Soft landing if you can, guys. The shit show we didn't know we were being played in is still our show. There's the whole thing. It's really easy to verify, but you have to actually be verifying. That's not the same as slapping the return key a couple of times. Trolls, snarks, and misdirects abound. We could use some chocolate and crackers for those marshmallows. Seems we got to the final step. It could also be the first. Shit gets real quick. Step insert need here to conclude. Figure out how to be a bit more sharing and helpful with information and satiate that responsibility to the people around you. Be it imagined or not, Russian Federation has been mind-fucking us for over a decade. https://drive.google.com file d/1l5keapqkn06ikvazkspujjz7/viewer equals sharing, legalese that will kill. https://drive.google.com file d/1jcf7qdr7wltfb1sej2vl4kj8digx viewer equals sharing words grown men hide like little children do. https://drive.google.com file d/1whqglaw for 68 yo or igit viewer equals sharing done, and done. Peace out.